Hey yo, welcome to Parker's Reefs. On today's episode, we're going to check in and get an update on Melbourne's newest aquarium store, Apex Aquatics. Alright, and thank you for joining me on yet another episode of Parker's Reefs. And today, as touched on in the intro, we are going to pop back into Collingwood in Melbourne to check out Australia's newest and most exciting local fish store known as Apex Aquatics. Now, you may recall I did a sneaky little visit a couple of months ago just to see how the development was going, and it was a fantastic video. So many things happening in this shop, from the shark pond out the front through to the huge number of aquariums all set up in these beautiful extruded aluminium stands, through to a massive dry goods room, a huge sump room out the back, and of course a warehouse and quarantine section to make sure that they always have heaps and heaps of livestock available, well, plus dry stock, I guess, available for their customers. Now, a couple of months have passed and I wanted to see how far we were off opening, because it's something I get asked probably 2 or 3 times a week at the moment is, do I know an opening date for Apex Aquatics? Well, I can say after today's video that it is looking to be early to mid-December, probably more than mid-December, but it should be in before the end of the year. So with that information in mind, let's go check up and see how things are going at Apex Aquatics, because there's been a whole heap of updates, including a bunch of livestock. Alright, here we are at the entrance of Apex Aquatic, and you can see that there has been a heap of progress made. We've got a front counter, and more importantly, over to the left here, we have the saltwater pond, and it is all set up ready to go. You can see the shark head up on the wall, the kessels dangling down from the ceiling, some palms, some sand, and of course some water in the pond there. There are no sharks in there yet. The team are still sourcing some suitable sized sharks that'll be able to go in here, and failing that, they'll track down some other species of some fish that can go in there. But when we pan across to the right, you'll see this big system here, and I'll quickly put a filter on so we can have a better look at it. This first marine display tank is up and running, and while it's going through a little bit of an ugly patch at the moment, it is nothing ugly about the livestock in there. Have a look at this incredible school of blue tangs. There is 100 blue tangs. In fact, I think there is more than 100 blue tangs in this system, and to see them schooling together like that, like they do in the wild, is absolutely ridiculous. And that's before you even notice that that huge central bommy has hundreds and hundreds of hammers on there. In fact, there's only a clam in there that is not a hammer. Everything else in there is just this wall or this pyramid of hammers around that central bommy. And Jack tells me at night when the lights go off, you cannot see a single blue tang. They all disappear into the rockwork, and it looks incredible even with the lights off. But we'll get the DSLR out onto this so we can have a good look at all the different hammers in there. I cannot believe how much there is smooshed in there. They are all rubbing shoulders the entire way around, and even having that rockwork poke out at the top of the water's surface. I tried to get in nice and close here to give you a bit of a feel for what it's like to see 100 blue tangs all swimming together in a school like this. It's nothing short of ridiculous. I'm curious to see how it goes long term, but at the moment they are all swimming around. It looks so cool together, and you can see someone's done a really good job of placing all these hammers in there. It would not have been an easy task estimating how far they spread out and getting a nice contrast of colors, and to be short, it looks ridiculously good. But there is more than just displays happening now. They actually have some livestock in. You can see a beautiful mature purple tang here, a blue tang that is available for sale, and a little yellow leaf hiding down there, hiding into the rockwork, doing a very nice job. Looks like he's holding that rock up, which is just doing his best Hercules impression. And then coming across here, we get to the coral sail tanks, although the first thing you do notice is this Red Sea salt bucket tower with the tap coming out of it. That is just a fake bucket to hide the plumbing there. That is where you can fill up your water barrels, and the team are also planning to put some pipework outside so you can do bolt fills straight to your boot. Now, let's have a look at these coral tanks, because you can see they are chock-a-block and there's lots to go over. So starting here, you can see some really nice ultra high-end scollies in there.
Good assortment of those there, heaps and heaps of beautiful gonies, including some really, really colourful pieces, all looking pretty good in there. These have been in for a few weeks now and are obviously settling in quite well. The tanks are all just going through their phases and establishing that biological base that will help them survive in the long term. And you can see the gonies are loving life in there. That red one in particular just looks absolutely gorgeous. And then the range of them, just to give all that pop of color, continues on. We get over to the torch corals. I will get the DSLR onto these tanks at the end just to wrap things up, but for now let's enjoy the main camera here, which has got gold torch, we've got Hulk torch, we've got peach tip, teal tips, you name it, it's all in here. New York Nicks 24 carats, your standard green tips, all sorts of torch corals in there. And again, all looking really, really good. The team have done very well to get these systems up and running and obviously in a very good state so that they can have all of these ridiculously nice corals looking their best. Look at the hammers in here. You've got golds of various grades, you've got models, you've got blotchies, you've got solid toxics. Goes just everywhere. Just any type of hammer you want, reverse stem. They've got them all in here, and they're very nicely sized pieces from small, medium, up to large. Very, very good assortment. I can imagine they were probably cherry picking out of here to put that display together. And then coming across here, there is still a few more hammers. You even move on to a few frog spawns in here, and obviously some cynarias down the middle there as well. Some very nice ones, flesh extending a long, long way. Have a look at these frog spawns though. You got some of those toxic reverse frogs. You've got the solid greens. You've got some gold tip frog spawns. Those hammers in there are quite nice. That gold is beautiful along with the reverse stems in there. But I'm quite impressed by the flesh extension on those cynarias. Now, over here we move into some favias. I think these are nice assortment of those. Always give good contrasting color into cross over to some lobos and some patchies. You got the nice color contrast on these guys too. Good assortment of different colors to showcase the full range that they do have there. And these 5 years look quite nice too. Always that solid purple with the toxic green gives about as good as contrast as you're ever going to see. And here's some more of those pieces there. You got some dragon souls and some various pieces in there. Do move across, when we come over to the left a little bit further here, you'll see go to some Aussie war corals there, which are a little bit of a, probably not a variant, I'm going to say a variant. There is a clan hiding in there too, you can see, but they seem to be fairly similarly related to the Favias. It's a slightly smaller eye and not as big of a range of colors, but they do get a bit of a bleed through them. Now, coming across into this system, looks like we've got fungias and chalice, and you can see your standard fungias, or I should say not standard, the non-helio varieties in the cups. You also have some gonies over there as well, but the team have got a little bit of gold chalice in by the looks. There is gold chalice with every sort of variant of color splashed through it in the middle there. You can see, I quite like some of these ones up the back here that are almost, that one there, almost completely maroon with splashes of green and gold through it. Also that one there with the teal through the gold gives great contrast. But have a look at these helio fungias. I'm getting a real soft spot for these at the moment because they're very affordable. They've got beautiful color, great extension, and pretty easy to care for as long as you keep sand off them. Moving on over here, we've got some more chalice. These ones have got some of your more basic chalice. You've got another very big clam in there, and then you come across into some not so basic chalice. You've got a few different sort of bubblegum colored chalice here that have got all these sort of light, faint colors all sort of modeled through them there, which look quite nice indeed, particularly contrasted up against some of those gold and some of these more common pieces with the bright yellow eyes. But huge, huge assortment of corals in those tanks. And that's before we get across into, well, we can see we've got the sump room out the back here. We'll get to that in a minute. We've got this nice little invert wall across here, which is absolutely filled to the brim full of all sorts of different snails in here. So we've got some trochus throughout here. There's also some astraeas, and then we come across into these little sand bays here, which have got looks like some hermits and maybe some gnat snails in there as well. There's some gnats there, so huge range of inverts, but obviously still a lot of room for more to come. Over here we've got even more corals. This is some soft coral, including some dragon's breath macroalgae there, which I believe these corals are destined for a display tank we're going to check out in a second, along with these beautiful recordias and some more macroalgae in here. You can see a whole swarm of ultra high-end recordia in here, all the colors of the rainbow in here. It's going to look incredible with these all in one display tank. And you can see a number of different macroalgae in there, but that solid gold Recordia there that I just pointed out is probably one that stands out the most in my humble opinion for that tank. But we will keep on rolling because there are more things to see, including fish. The fish systems are starting to get populated, and you see this gorgeous wrasse in here. Beautiful little wrasse. It looks like it could even be a monsoon fairy wrasse. I'd need to double check that. Here's another very similar looking unit. In fact, he looks like he's got some nice fins that he just flared up there. Stunning fish indeed. Coming across into this next system, over to the end here, and this is actually a display system that is under construction at the moment. At the moment it is just full of Duncan corals, but I believe they are just in there just to, well, they've got to fit in somewhere at the moment. And this system is actually going to be an SPS display tank, and you can see these gorgeous lorry anthias in there. So that floating scape is going to be populated with SPS, and you're just going to have the anthias in there swimming through all of the acro and other various SPS branches growing in there. So it's going to look pretty spectacular, I think, and I can see the vision that the team are working towards, so it's going to be a pretty cool system. But we'll go back into the fish holding tanks to see what's in here. You see a beautiful powder blue in there. He's got plenty of pipe work and rock work to hide in, and you can see he's grazing away on that rock work. Over here, big emperor angel, stunning fish, little baby narso, I believe, and it looks like a coral beauty in there as well. Over into the next system, got a little porcupine puffer in here. He's in with a blonde narso, 6-line wrasse. The porcupine puffer is always very interactive fish. You see you come up to have a look at the camera. And then we pan across the way to this system here. All sorts happening here. I'll get the camera to focus for us, and it looks like we've got a sail fin tang there. We've got some banana wrasse and some bicolor blennies in there as well. So a little bit of sand for them to, it looks like a little tub of sand there for them to dig and bury away in. And then over in here we've got, I'm not sure exactly what designer breed of clowns these are. They don't look like standard ockies, maybe an onyx or something in there. And then we come across into these guys here, which look like a pretty standard sort of ockie in there, although they are fairly dark. Now, onto the next display tank. Yes, next. There is so many display tanks here at Apex Aquatic. This one is the soft coral display, where I believe all of those Recordias and other soft corals are destined to go. You can see this one is lit up by AI blades, and there is some nice pieces in here already, including some nice leathers, sinularias. There's some nice sponge coral in there. There are a few Recordias already, and then you've got this flipper sea view, I believe they call them, and you can see straight through that. It magnifies onto the dragon's breath macroalgae in there, which is a pretty cool thing to see. And yeah, gorgeous clam in there as well. But we'll keep rolling onto the fish systems because there's plenty to see in here. In this system here, there's a very nice pair of clownfish, but I don't believe these ones are for sale, because you can see Jack's clownfish not for sale. They're obviously just being held in there while he's setting his tank up at home. But moving on to the next tank, you can see some more of these nice designer bred clowns here, some with some mist bars, but a nice pattern of black and white banding through there. And speaking of black patterns on there, check out this Achilles tang in here, settling in. I believe he is a fish that will be available for sale, but he's just got some roommates in there of some clownfish at the moment. And we jump across over here, over into some lytail amphias. You got a nice assortment of males and females in there. They're always a very popular fish, affordable, very, very active, very bright in color, and look cool with the male-female combos. Now, you see a nice ballast angel in there, a beautiful reef-safe angel. And as we pan through the rest of these fish systems, bear in mind they're obviously going to get a lot more stock as they get closer to opening. Then you come across yet another display tank. I must admit, I'm not 100% certain which coral is destined for this one, or whether it's going to be a fish-only display. Who knows? But the end of every single bay, there is a display tank in the marine section, which is hard to believe, and none of which are going to top that ridiculous system there with those blue tanks in there. It's just crazy to see them in there with the hammers, but there are still more fish to cover, so we'll keep on going. And you can see some blue-green chromis, little juvenile fox face in there. You've got some Australian stripies, powder blue tang in there. Coming across here, looks like some solid black angels in there, which are interesting. And then coming across in the last couple of marine fish systems, you've got a gorgeous scribble angel, and then just a couple of casual yellow tangs in there. So no shortage of fish already, and the team still have a few more weeks to get some more fish through quarantine and to fill up these systems even further, because I have no doubt that their opening weekend, they're going to be absolutely slammed with people coming to check out this store. And with stock like this, I can imagine the guys are going to be very, very busy bagging stuff up. But there's probably also going to be a good dozen or more people, or a few dozen of people standing around that tank looking at all of the beautiful blue tangs. You can see over here we've got still some work to be done. You see a pond wall coming along, and here's the original blueprint that the team are working through and ticking off as they go. Still plenty to be done, but as you can see, since the last visit, heaps and heaps of progress has been made. Now, getting over to the freshwater section, I don't want to spend too much time here, but when you see display tanks like this, you cannot help but pause and appreciate how beautiful this is. I gotta admit, the freshwater guys have got this perspective thing down to a point. It is just perfectly applied to these tanks, and makes them look so much bigger than they are. You see this one's lit up by a Chihirios Aquatic Studio light, and I've got to say it's giving old school metal halide vibes, and particularly when you get the DSLR camera on it here, the incredible work they've done with the soils, the mosses, the stones, and obviously the vines in there. I actually just noticed there's some neon tetras in there, but they always have this beautiful little pathway up through the center there, which just makes it look like the tank goes on for about 20 meters. But obviously it doesn't. It's a bit smaller than that, but an incredible scape nonetheless, and very worthy of a display tank in this fine store. Now, panning quickly through the freshwater fish, because I don't really know what any of these are, unless they're written on the tank there, like those white clouds. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I do want to quickly showcase all of the systems here. You can see some of them have got plants growing out of them. Over here, you've got a system with some big snails by the looks, maybe even some freshwater mussels in there. Coming across over here, you're going to have to read the names on the front of the glass, because yeah, I don't know what these fish are, but they do look good, and it's obviously only going to get better. Over to something I do know a little bit more about. This is yet another display tank. This is the peninsula that separates the office from the wet room, and you see it is coming along, just sort of finishing off its ugly period here. The gonies are settling in nicely. The fish are looking good in there. You got chalice settling in well, plenty of recordia, nice mystery wrasse there, some beautiful chalice, big bubble coral, and you can see the sump down here is cranking away. It's got the big Deltec filter roller in there. That's a big industrial looking sort of unit, and you can see the water flowing through there. They're pumping some water flow through this sump. Heaps and heaps of ceramic media in there into a small fuge, and then this Deltec skimmer is pulling out absolute filth. Have a look at the color of the skimmate on that. It looks like bitumen. It's that black. Go across over to the big Deltec return pump there, but I did promise we would talk about freshwater fish, so I'll get back on topic. And you can see, yeah, there's more fish here. These guys look cool. I have no idea what they are, but they're bright, they're shiny. Lots and lots of varieties along here. There is a display tank I want to take a look at though, because this is a big, it looks like a 4x4 or 5x5 system. I believe the one and only Arj from Addicted to Fish aquascaped this one, and it has some Kessels over it, giving beautiful shimmer. And this literally looks like a section from a creek just near my house. Looks beautiful. And over in here looks like some platies in there, over to some swordtails there, and then maybe some mollies over there. I can show you these little 3D printed little bucket holders here that fit into the extrusion. You can see this water outlet, and I'll see if I can find one they prepared earlier. Here we are. This holds the Aquaforest little buckets, and you can put your bag in there, turn the tap, and get some water in there to catch a fish. Very clever idea indeed. Looks like a big Oscar, I'm going to go and say there. He's always got some attitude there, those fish. Beautiful coloration, the white and red there. I like these plants growing out of the sumps in these systems. Over into some beautiful looking cichlids here. I must admit, I don't know anything about cichlids, but they are always very, very active. And when you see the colors on them like that, I can see why plenty of people are drawn to them. And these guys are looking as good as they possibly could be, in my opinion. And you see even more of them there, different assortment of colors. Don't know what species these guys are, but they are schooling oh so tightly. And then, yeah, there's lots and lots of freshwater fish, to the point where we come around here over to a bit of a cold water section, I believe it is. Of course, there are more display tanks. Have a look at this one with the vines coming up out of the water. Some Kessel's lighting that up, and you've got all sorts of sort of reeds and grasses planted in the bottom of that one. And this little nook has even more freshwater fish. It's amazing how many systems they have fit into this space. Not that it's a small space by any stretch of the imagination, but the floor plan has obviously been meticulously worked through to fit in a ridiculous number of tanks. And when each tank holds this many fish, you've got a ridiculous number of fish. So coming over here, you can see we've got a number of goldfish, but this little section here that hasn't been covered up yet just showcases, look at the cabling and the plumbing that has to come through the wall to get all of these systems running. It is a monumental task. That'll all be covered up by the time the grand opening comes, and you'll just see things like this, these bubbly head goldfish. I'm sure they have a much more fancy name than that, but that's what I call them, and that's pretty much the name I gave them when I was 4 years old, and it hasn't changed now that I'm 40. But it's just incredible to think how many pumps and heaters and plumbing and things that have to go through the wall. And we'll check out the sump in a second, but I did just want to showcase some of these betas because if there was ever a freshwater fish that looks ridiculously good on camera, it is a beta. They just put on the best show with their ridiculous sized fins, the way they swim, the way they flare up, the colors they have. Just a stunning specimen indeed. And of course the team have got no shortage of options here. And I gotta say, there are some that have multiple colors. I don't mind these sort of singular colored ones. This guy here looks like a cloud, just a solid gray with a hint of blue through there. Just looks ridiculously nice. But it's not always just about betas. We will get out the back and have a look at some of the sump systems out there, because I believe there could be some plants out there as well, which are just settling in before coming out into the sail tanks. That beta there is pretty fired up, but we'll keep on rolling. Here are some plants here. It's got some sort of isolated specimens in there, but I want to show you guys out the back. We did have a look at the sump room last time I was here, but I don't believe it was quite as operational as it is now. You can see this is obviously a freshwater sump here, going through some K1 media, obviously got some mechanical filtration as well. K1 media must remain tumbling like that at all times. That's how it works. Big UVs there as well. And then coming across here, we've got some more freshwater sumps there as well. And then onto the marine side, which is obviously given away by the big skimmers there. You can see the Bubble Magus up and running, but also this big Royal Exclusive. And yeah, they're pulling out some gunk. I've got to say the Royal Exclusive looks like it's pulling out probably the most, which you would expect, seeing it's probably about 8 times the price of the Bubble Magus. But they're all working very nicely indeed. Here's all of those controllers that we saw all the cables running to before, so the team can have access on that one wall to all of the pumps in the systems, which is crazy to see. And then this is the system that I could see through the window, which they do have windows from the wet room out into this sump room, which is a nice touch. Look at the color of plants in here. I am going to get the DSLR out because my standard camera isn't doing these plants justice at all. There is a kaleidoscope of colors in there, and you can see here now we've got the DSLR out, a bit of contrast and a bit of color in there. Have a look at the assortment of colors. These plants are looking on point. All sorts of different leaf structures, different colors, different growth patterns. I don't know if the first thing about freshwater plants, but what I can tell you is these look beautiful. And look at the CO2 pumping away in there. Obviously these plants are growing at a good rate and chewing quite a bit of that CO2 up, so they have to pump quite a bit in there. But that is a good looking plant system. I've got to say it looks pretty chock-a-block, and you can see the plants purling away there now, just sucking up that CO2 and letting it back out as oxygen, which is something I've got to say I would love to see corals do that. I can see that in the macroalgae section of my tank, but can't see a little shrimp like this. Well, I can, but redline cleaners cost a fair bit in Australia. Thankfully, these freshwater shrimp are much, much more affordable, and they're busy little beavers. When you see them scurrying around like this, they are cleaning away at all of these mosses here, doing what they need to do. But we might continue on with the rest of the sump room because like I touched on, these big sumps are running away, and look at that bubble, not the Bubble Magus, the Royal Exclusive, just churning out the foam. And even the Bubble Magus here have got a good solid dark color in that cup. And all these pumps up here, this is all labeled there, all neatly laid out. Would have been a huge task running the cables through to those, but what a good result in the end. Coming across into these sumps here, these look like these could be some of the freshwater sumps here. You see the mechanical filtration, K1 media there. Look at all that plumbing coming across over into another one of the marine sumps here. couple of bubble magus skimmers on each side there, and then another one over here. I believe this one's for the coral system, but please don't quote me on that. It could be for anything. You can see the dosing pumps up there too. So, oh, there you go, coral system 1 and 2. So I dare say they are for the coral systems. And then you've got these water holding tanks here now getting labeled up. So you've got salt at various salinity levels. You've got RO and all sorts happening in there. And then even this mixing drum, which is just one of those storage tubs that's had the top lobbed off it, so you can tip that red sea salt in there, and obviously has a pump in there which allows you to stir it up and then pump it out. So the team will be making artificial salt on site by the looks, and you can see the huge filters here for the RODI system with some big booster pumps on there, and there's all sorts happening out here, but I should probably get out of the filtration room because it's not, while the shop's not open just yet, it's also not really a space that the general public will be allowed in. But I'll get back out of here into a quick pan around of this wet room, and then we'll make our way over to the dry room, which will showcase all of the work that's been happening in there, because last time we were here, there was still quite a lot of work to be done, and you can see the team still working very hard in here, and I'll pan across to the right in a second, but we'll start off here on the left, where all of these freshwater aquascaping parts are. You can see the rocks there. You've also got some marine rocks here, which is nice. I do love the way these are laid out. It sort of reminds me of my local greengrocer, where I go and pick up some bananas, some apples, and maybe some mandarins or something like that. But the way they've got all the different substrates, these beautiful vines, these sort of tree structures, all laid out, looks very, very attractive indeed. And then you've got these little sort of bins, for lack of words here, with some substrate in there to give you some inspiration, different soils and gravels with different rocks and vines on them, just to showcase and even give you a bit of space to play, which is a nice touch. Now, I did say it was a dry room, but there is no shortage of display tanks in here. Look at the vines coming out of this freshwater system here. They come out probably 3 times higher than they go into the water, and it's a pretty cool scape going in there, I've got to admit. Looks like a big cade there actually, and then over here the team is setting up this one. I think is a big red sea system that's just getting established there in the middle, and then over on the end we've got some big bubble magus skimmers going in. Over on the end here we've got another big display tank going. This one looks like a water box. So team are busy doing more display tanks, of course, filling the shelves with no shortage of dry goods. Look at this wall of dry foods for different fish here, from marines through to freshwaters and, of course, cold waters. Huge assortment of different sands down there, all of your carib seas there, different colors, different sizes. You've got paleo sand there, then you come across to your freshwater soils and sands and gravels. Huge amount of goods here. And then over here, you can see the team working away. They've got a huge order from Pet Pacific. See Ken and Jack there working out where things are going to go. Got this massive tree in the middle of the room, and then coming over here you can see all of your all for Reef, Acro Powers, Chemi Pures. You've got the range from Flipper there, from their magnetic cleaners through to their magnifying glasses. You got some Red Sea products. You can see Original Jack down here putting together another Red Sea tank. Cool to see him back in store. And then on the wall behind there, you've got all the expensive sort of lights and pumps and things there. But check out this massive tree just in the middle of this space. The team told me that Ken picked this up off Facebook Marketplace of all places. Look at the size of this tree. And I believe he said it was a ficus. I could be wrong on that, but he said that means it will happily grow indoors, which is cool to see. Adds a lot of life to the dry room beyond the display tanks. Then you've got this big library-inspired wall with the ladder that slides across there that the guys tell me Ken enjoys going for rides on. And you've got all of your Kessels, you've got Chihirios lights there, Reef Factory lights, you've got the Reef Factory smart rollers. Look at the Chihirios lights shoved in the cabinet in there. Kessels, of course, all of your goods in behind there. And then you come up here, you've got Chihirios things, you've got AI blades, you've got Dimax lights, all the different sizes there looking very cool. And then speaking of cool, you've got the freezer there for your foods. And then through here, the team have got some systems. I cannot recall if they said these were going to be filled or not, Knowing the guys, they probably will be, but even if they're not, the dry escapes give you an idea of the sort of thing you can do with these smaller tanks. Jack's working away there at where things need to go. See a huge lineup of products here from ASF. They're all of their little vials of solutions. Of course, Dr. Tim's there as well. Over to the wall of purple from Aquaforest. I'm just sneaking behind the guys here. You got some flex tanks there. Plenty of bioscape systems to set up there. Heaps and heaps of stock for the team to unpack, and you can see it's all hands on deck. But just before I wrap things up here, I did just want to get the DSLR out, and we'll go back over those coral systems to have one more look at the stock on hand. Just at the moment, we're still a few weeks away from opening, but have a look at the Scollies, the Blastos, the Gonies in here. That red Goni up there, ridiculously nice. Over into your torches, from your smaller sort of single to double heads up to massive monster colonies in there of golds, of greens, of hulks, of New York Nicks, 24 carats. Over into the hammer system here, which has got a pretty heavily balance of gold hammers in there. You got some reverses, you got some models, some blotchies. Over into some more hammers here. And then you go over into some Cynarias there, that one on the front left, massive. On to frog spawns, from golds to greens to reverses. Over here into some of our encrusting LPS from Favias, Favietes. We've got some Lobos there. In fact, the Lobos in here look so on point. Look at the color on those things. Ridiculously nice in there. Over to Dragon Soul Favias in here. Moving across, there's a nice little clam there. Aussie War Corals in there. And then over here to a Fungia section of both your standard Fungias, your Helio Fungias. Huge number of Helios there, as touched on before. I do love them at the moment. Gold chalice for days. There's plenty of Gonies in there as well. And then we come across into some of your more affordable chalice, so something for all budgets here. And then, of course, that beautiful clam. And then some of these quite obscure chalice that I quite like the look of as well. And then, of course, you've got these beautiful Recordia in here. Have a look at that guy there, that gold one with the sort of purple base to it. Very, very nice indeed. Look at the macro algae in there, the redline cleaner shrimp working away. You got the dragon's breath macro algae in there, which has just got that two-tone red to die for. So no shortage of stock, and still a couple of weeks to get even more things in at the incredible Apex Aquatic.
All right, guys, there you have it. That was the update on Melbourne's newest local fish shop, Apex Aquatic. And as you can see, they are getting very, very close to opening. One thing you can do to make sure you do not miss out on that grand opening, obviously, I will do everything I can to be there, because the owner there, Ken, loves to throw a good party, and I would not miss that for the world. Plus, it's going to be a pretty spectacular event. But if you want to make sure you don't miss that date, be sure to follow Apex Aquatics all over their socials, because they are dropping videos left, right, and center at the moment, and you will be sure to find out exactly the moment I find out personally when that grand opening date is going to be, and all of the festivities they will have there. Plus, they do have some pretty cool looking social media videos on there, so I'll put all the links in the comment section or the description down below to make sure you can follow them on Facebook, on Insta, and all of their other channels that people now post things up onto there. But it is looking to be a fantastic local fish shop. I'm still a little bit lost for words around that display tank with 100 blue tangs in it, and probably over 100 hammer corals in it. It's just something I've never seen before. Such a spectacular sight. And when that shop is full of people and all of the tanks are up and clean and the vibe is happening in there, it's going to be unlike anything else, and I cannot wait for it to open. And I wish Ken and Jack and the rest of the Apex Aquatics team a huge congratulations on getting this far, but also best of luck with the opening coming in the next few weeks. Now, I did promise I will be dropping 2 videos a week for the next foreseeable future, and that is gonna absolutely hold true. Thanks to these names on screen here. These are my channel members who chip in a couple of dollars each and every month to make videos like this one possible. They have made it possible for me to get out and about this beautiful country and check out all of these incredible local fish shops, just like Apex Aquatics that we looked at today. It takes some time and a fair bit of energy to get out and around all of these local fish stores, but I gotta say, I absolutely love it, and I cannot thank my channel members enough for making it possible. So once again, thank you to these names on screen. Now, I did say that I'd be dropping 2 videos a week, and that is absolutely still going to happen. I've got another local fish shop crawl tomorrow, and I'm actually, as this video is airing, up in Sydney checking out some more local fish shops, but also some more incredible home reef tanks that I know you guys absolutely love the videos of. So I've got a few of those lined up and I cannot wait to release those videos for you guys over the next coming weeks. So please do stay tuned for that. And if you are yet to subscribe, as about 35 to about 40% of people who watch my channel are not channel subscribers, which is crazy because it takes 2 seconds of your time, costs no money whatsoever. If you hit that subscribe button in the bottom corner down there and be sure to tick that little bell notification, that will give you a notification next time I release a video, which like I said at the moment is 2 times a week on a Saturday and Sunday Australian time here. So please consider doing so. I'd personally appreciate it. Other than that, guys, I will wrap things up there. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the next video and of course next weekend for another couple of videos again. Till then, stay safe, keep reefing. Cheers, bye.